Good morning, this is Dr. Stephen Bartlett, and today we're going to go through Lecture 6 and also the homework assignment associated with this lecture. We are going to learn how to take an orthophoto and then draw on top of it to create maybe a roadway system or transportation system. So to do this, I've selected the roundabout on campus near the stadium, just east of the stadium. And so this image that you see in front of you is coming from Google Earth, and you can find it also in the files folder of Canvas called campusroundabout.jpg. So that's the file you'll be using, and as you notice, we're looking down now at the roundabout. The important thing to realize about these type of photos is they are called orthophotos, or orthographic photos, and what that means is the photo has been rectified so that it is perfectly flat. Normally when you would fly and take images with a satellite camera, the edges would be distorted and making it so that the distances would not be correct on top of the photo. But the Google images have been corrected to orthophotos, so we can use them to draw directly on and get approximate distances. So the layout we're going to do is of the transportation system. I've given you some instructions about some of the things you need to draw on this photo. I'll talk about the drawing scale and scaling the image later on, but what we want to do is get the roadway limits. So as we look at this image, the roadway limits are going to be, the black asphalt that you can see on the image. So we need to draw the roadway limits and also the parking lot limits that we can see here that is also asphalt. We also want to show the roadway lane markings. So if you're looking on the roadway itself, you can see the white markings that designate the lanes. We want to capture those, and also the traffic control markings. So there are arrows here showing right and left turn lanes we want to capture. We want to capture the lane lines. Also, we can see here in this image place where there's some also features for stoppage with X's, and we would get the dash lines for the lane delimiters here. And so just look for all the white markings that you see on the blacktop, and that will give you an idea what you need to do for those. Some students in the past have asked, do I need to do the lines on the asphalt for the parking? I would say, for the parking stalls, I would say at this point that's not necessary. Okay, we also need to identify the curb and gutter. If you look at the image closely, you see there's a white border along each of the roadways, both on the outside and inside. That is the curb and gutter. Since we are already drawing a black line for designating the edges of the roadway or the asphalt, we do not need to put another line right on top of that for the front of the curb. So just draw a line representing the back side of the curb, and that would be then the line that's touching against the landscaping. So you would need to do that for all of the roadway here. This ancillary road up here, you can probably just draw it in, but I wouldn't spend too much time on it, putting curb and gutter and sidewalk designation on it. Okay, let's see. Just want to remind you that I've given you different colors. So the roadway is going to be drawn with black lines. The traffic control markings are going to be done with red. The curb and gutter is going to be drawn with blue. The sidewalks, again, you can see sidewalk here around the roundabout. There's a little bit of a sidewalk crossing here and there. So draw those with orange lines. The tracks line itself, so we can see the tracks line coming right down through the center of the photo, going through the middle of the roundabout. Let's do that, the outside edges of that in brown, and the landscaping features would be done in green. so we'll landscaping here. And as far as trees and that, I would probably just put some rough circles around these just to show that there's trees in here, but don't spend a lot of effort here. You might be able to just kind of make a boundary around this and just say landscaping trees or whatever, just to show approximately where the trees would be located. But since they're not engineering features, we're not that concerned about them. And then on the dimension all widths of features using the purple line. So the widths of the roadway, the dimensions of the parking lot, the diameter of the roundabout. I've given you some things that you need to do widths. I would say we do not need to dimension lengths, and the reason for that is that in roadway design, as we learn later, we're going to put a center line down the middle of the roadway, and the stationing or dimensions for lengths will be there. So focus on dimensioning widths but not lengths of things in this drawing. Okay, hopefully that's enough instructions about the drawing. There's 3 things you need to submit. Complete a drawing with only the satellite image and the line features that you've drawn up here with these instructions not showing. A completed drawing, so there's just a completed drawing with just a satellite image only. The completed drawing with just layers 1 through 7 only, so we need to mute or hide the satellite imagery. And then the final drawing where we have both the line drawing for layers 1 and 7 present, but decrease the transparency of the satellite image to emphasize the line drawing, and I'll show you how to do that later on in the video. Okay, all drawings must still have a title block, so we're going to use a title block template, and you must submit this in PDF format for grading. We cannot read the DWG files in Canvas. So on the next page, I've given you a video that we're going to watch, and I'm going to include this in this video to make sure that you watch this, because this shows you some of the ways that then you can take an image and convert it to a line drawing and some of the features that are available to you. So let's just go ahead and watch this.
Okay, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be looking at how to import a drawing into AutoCAD and how to scale it and how to trace over it. So let's get started. First thing you need to do is have an image that you want to insert. Once you've got that ready, in the command prompt type IM for image and then press enter or space. Opens up a window, and then click on this little arrow here and say attach image. Now just go to where you've saved your image, and there's mine. Now here it asks where do we want to specify it on screen. We'll just leave it at 000, so untick that, and scale, we'll just leave it as it is for now because we're going to scale that. So click OK, and here it's just asking us for the scale factor. Let's press spacebar or enter, and you can do ZE for zoom extents, or double click on your mouse button, and as you can see our drawing has come in. Okay, you can close that window now. Now what I like to do is separate this onto its own layer, so we can do that by opening up the layer properties manager, and we'll create a new layer and we'll call it car image. Okay, close that window. Now select the image, go back to the home tab and select the layer car image. Okay, and we'll change it back to 0, we'll draw on 0. Also, another thing I like to do is change the color, so maybe red, something you can kind of see on the screen a little bit better. Now here we have a dimension in millimeters, 1,748, so just over 1.7 meters. Now to scale this, let's draw a line from that line. We'll turn on ortho F8 to there, and we've got a line approximately the same distance on that 1748 line. Now what we want to do is select the image and the line and select the grip. So it's now red, so it's a hot grip. And on the bottom here, you can see it says stretch. So press space, we want to stretch it. We would not press space again because we don't want to move it. Press space again because we're not rotating. And here we are for scale. What we want to do, we want to type R down, as you can see here, R for reference. So what we're telling it here is we're clicking on the first point, the second point here. We're telling it that's what it currently is. And now it's asking us what we want it to be. So we can type in 1748. Okay, and ZE for zoom extents. And if we measure that now, the distance, usually DI, I've got mine set a little bit differently, but DI for distance. And we measure, we've got exactly 1748. So that is now scaled pretty close, maybe not 100% accurate, but it's pretty close to what it should be. Now to draw the car, I usually start in plan, and I'll draw a line roughly down the centre, because there's no point drawing it twice. Just draw it on one side and then mirror it over. What I generally like to do as well is use a polyline, to keep all the lines sort of together as much as possible. So to start polyline, PL, space or enter, and we want to start at that point there. Now, as you can see, it's not really a straight line. We could draw that with polyline, but it would be very sort of jaggedy. So down the bottom here, as you can see in the command prompt, arc, half width, length, undo width. What we want to do is we want to create an arc. So A for arc. We see an arc coming out now, but that's no good to us. So what we want to do is tell it the second point. So it asks for the second point of the arc. So we can put there, and then for the end point, and there. And we can do that again, S for second point. Because we haven't gotten out of the command, still in arc mode in the polyline, so we can just trace over these. And there. You can always adjust these a little bit later after I've done this. Yeah, it's pretty easy to edit the vertices once you've got it all down. All I'm doing is pressing S each time. So that was the end point. S now for the second point. And then left click again for the end point. S again for a second point. So do that all the way around the outer body. Okay. And let's snap it onto there. Oh, I might go a little bit over. It's not going where I want it to go. Okay, escape to get out of the command. TR for trim. And we'll trim that off. As you see, we've got an outline here already. Sometimes what can happen is you can have the image in front of your lines, and that's not very helpful. So to get around that, select the image, type DR, and that's for draw order, and B for back. So it sends it to the back, so the line is now on top. We already had that before, but I thought I'd just show you that because there are times when that gets in the way. I could go through and model up all this car now, but what I just want to basically show you is the basic outline, and then what we could do. We've got mirroring. So we've got our mirror line, which is the center line that we've drawn at the beginning. So select that and select the outer outline of the car. Make a hot grip on the median line, and scroll through on the command prompt and select mirror, and should be able to mirror this around. Yep, there we go. We just hold it to the right, left click. Now the problem here is it's just mirrored it without copying it. So do that again, select the outline of the car, our mirror line, make it a hot grip again, scroll through to mirror, and this time hit C for copy, and now drag the mouse out to the right, left click, and we have an outline of our car. Hopefully that tutorial has been helpful for you. Another thing you can do as well is just turn off your car layer if you want to see what's going on. You can also go back to the image window, IM, and you select the image, right click on it and say unload. It'll turn it off. It's still there, so you can reload it. Yeah, if you want to get rid of it, you can just attach it or erase it. But I think the best method is to actually detach it if you want to get rid of it, because if we just delete it, like so, it just becomes unreferenced. So it's still in there, so in the window. So detaching is the way to go. So hopefully you found that helpful, and stay tuned for more.
So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and bring in the title block. So let me show you how to do that. As we go into AutoCAD and launch it, we're going to the upper left hand corner, put File, put New, and we'll have some template files. We're going to select this architectural template here, tutorial IRCH, and hit that open, and that will bring in the title block. The next thing that we need to do is get the units correct on this title block and resize the title block. So I'm going to check the units, and we're going to switch to decimal units again. Our precision will set it to, when we do surveying, we survey to the nearest hundredth of a foot, and leave the rest of this the same. So we're going to hit OK. Okay, so now our units have changed, and we can see how the units have changed by looking at the coordinate system. The next thing I'm going to do is create a new layer for the image. I've given you some instructions here. I'm going to place it on its own layer so that I can turn it on and off. So let's go to AutoCAD. We'll go to the home menu, and then we should be able to see something here that talks about layers. We'll open that. We'll go to layer properties, and I'm going to open up these layers. Notice these are for architectural features. I don't really have many of those in this drawing, but we'll go ahead and ignore that. But I'm going to go to layer properties here, and there should be a pop-up menu that comes over here on the right. I'm going to go to the far left and select the new layer selection, click that, and then maybe call this layer photo. Okay, and hit my enter key. Now notice I've created the layer, but it's not the active layer, so I'm going to select it and hit the green check to make it the active layer. Okay, and then go ahead and hit enter, and it'll move to the top. Okay, so now I've created that. The next step would be is to bring in the photo itself and insert it. So to do that, I'm going to go to the insert command, raster image reference, select that. You need to navigate to where you've downloaded the Campus Roundabout JPG file on your computer. I'm going to go ahead and hit that and hit open. And it asked me some questions here. I'm going to specify on the screen where I want to place it and hit OK. I'm going to click down here in the lower left and then bring the image in. Now it's not scaled properly, and so we'll go ahead and do the process of scaling the image. These instructions are also in the notes. Let me show you how I determine how to scale it. I'm going to the tab called Determining the Scale. Notice there's a scale down in the photo of 209 feet. And so we have approximately 5 209 feet segments across this, which makes the length of this image just slightly over 1,000 feet. Okay, so maybe it says here maybe to create a drawing space of about 1,200. I might put that at about 1,000 feet. So that's how I determined the size that I need. Now let's go ahead and actually scale the image. So I'll go back to Autodesk, and as we come across here, we notice in our drawing space, even though we've changed to feet, we don't have enough room. Our coordinates only goes to about 29 feet. So I need 1,000 feet. So I'm going to go to my calculator and enter in 1,000, and then I'm going to divide it by 30. I need a scale that's a little bit over 33%. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the drawing space large enough. So these instructions are in my notes of how to do this, but you go to the output page setup. We'll use the D-size drawing. We'll keep that all the same, but we'll modify here. And it'll bring up, yes, we have an architectural D drawing. It is landscape view, but here's where we can get a chance to change the drawing. So I said I needed something just over 1/30. Maybe I'll select 1/40 just to give me a little extra space, and hit OK. Now that immediately changes the size of the paper that I'm working on. So the next thing to do is let's adjust the title block so that it's present and kind of filling up the drawing space, and then we'll scale the photo. So I'm going to issue the scale command. You can select it like that and then come down in here and type in scale, and the base point will select the lower left hand corner here, and as we drag away and down you see this drawing scaling up. I'm going to just approximate this by eye, hit my enter key. Now I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to then go ahead and move it. So I've got the base point here, and then I'll go ahead and go down here. As you can see, I still need to scale a little more, so I'll just type in scale. Another quick way of selecting everything is just type in all and then hit your enter key, and it'll ask you for the base point. We'll select that again, we'll select that as the base point, and then drag up and away, and now I can get it more closely, maybe do something like that. Okay, so the title block's fine, but the image is not scaled. So let's take care of that too. We'll scale it. Base point, I'll select the lower part of the image, and then maybe I'll just kind of get it so it fits a little bit better in the drawing space, and then maybe I'll go ahead and move it. Select this object here and hit my enter key, base point there, and then I hit my click on the lower left hand corner, hit my enter key, and then I can move it into the drawing space here. Okay, we're set up, but it's still not necessarily to the exact scale. We've just been doing this approximately. So the next thing to do, and we've done this on several lectures, is to go ahead and scale using a reference line. So the next thing I'm going to do is zoom in on the scale that's on the photo and type in line. I need to draw a reference line, so I'll come here and select that point, drag over to here and zoom in as I do so I can get this relatively close. Select the middle of this scale, hit my enter key. I hit my click on my left button and then hit my enter key, and I've placed a reference line on the image. So like we've done before now, and we've done this on other exercises, we select the reference line. We also make sure we've selected the image, so we're going to scale both at the same time. We come over to one of the corners and hot grip it. I hover and then click with my mouse, left click, and it asks me down in the command line, do I want to stretch it? I hit my space bar saying no, I don't want to stretch it. No, I don't want to move it, so I hit my space bar again. Do I want to rotate it? No, I don't, so I hit my space bar again. Though I do want to scale it, so I'm going to go down here and type in R, just hit reference, and it says what? Specify the reference length. This is where we need to re-specify the length of this line. So I hover over it. Notice I have my object snap on, so it's selecting the end point of that line. I come back over to here and select the other end of the line here, and then it asks me what is the length. Well, that line now is 209 feet. And so as I hit my enter key, it will scale the line, the reference line and the photo at the same time since they've both been selected. So I hit them and you'll see a slight change in the image, and now I've got everything drawn to scale, and I have the image centered in my drawing space, so I am now ready to start drawing. Some final cleanup things I need to do before I start drawing on the drawing itself with the instructions that I've given you in page 1 of the lecture is first I want to move my user coordinates system, UCS I'm typing in, and moving it down to the lower left hand corner maybe of this photo. So once I click with my mouse there, then I hit my enter key, the coordinate system is moved there. Now as I move across it, you can see I have the over 1,000 feet in this drawing, and I can now draw this on this drawing and draw to scale. One last thing to remind you about is if you look at the instructions on page 1, for each of the different features you draw, you're going to have to create a separate layer. So remember, you can create your layers here by using this, show you how I got there. Go to the home key again, go to layers, and layer properties, and it opens up this menu, and you can create new layers by clicking here. So you want to name each layer differently, and I've told you what color of line you should be drawing on each of these layers. Okay, the last thing to remind you about after you finish drawing on the dot and completing the different layers that I want you to do is remember, when we go to dimensioning, AutoCAD doesn't automatically update the dimensioning according to the units you selected. So you need to go to this command here, select the second line down the horizontal line, click on that, and manage your dimension styles. Click on that and come into this modify command and come into your primary units. Notice they're still architectural. Well, we want those in decimal, and we need this to the nearest hundredth of a foot. So we'll select that and hit OK. Now we'll dimension properly. Lastly, in this same menu, if your dimensioning letters are too small so they're not legible, you go ahead and modify again and come into your text, and you need to change the text height if your dimensions are too small and not legible to something that's legible, and you do this right here. Okay, I hope this has been useful. I think this is a relatively simple exercise, but it will challenge you in a few aspects and teach you to do a few things that you have not done before.